Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the conference call hosted by Dolat Capital. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference, please signal an operator by pressing star and then zero on your touchtone telephone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Umesh Raut. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Raut.
Thank you, Inba. Good day, everyone. On the behalf of Dolat Capital, we welcome you all for Q2 FY22 post-results conference call of Somany Home Innovation Limited. We are pleased to have a senior management team from the company, represented by Mr. Rakesh Kaul, CEO and whole-time director, Mr. Rajesh Pachnu, President Pipes Business, Mr. Sudhanshu Pokhriyal, CEO Building Products, Mr. Sandeep Sikka, Group CFO, Mr. Navin Malik, CFO, Somany Home Innovation Limited. I would like to hand over the call to Mr. Navin Malik for his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Somany Home Innovation Limited Q2 and H1 FY22 earnings call. I hope you and your loved ones are safe and healthy. I have with me Mr. Rakesh Kaul, the whole-time director and CEO, Somany Home Innovation Limited, Mr. Sudhanshu Pokhriyal, CEO Bath Business, Mr. Rajesh Pachnu, President Pipe Business, and Mr. Group CFO. I will begin the call by taking you through our financial performance for the quarter and half year ended 30th September 2021, post which Mr. Kaul, Mr. Pokhriyal, and Mr. Pachnu will discuss the key highlights of their respective businesses. We have delivered a strong performance for the quarter, as can be seen by our financials. Both consumer appliances and building product division delivered good growth, which was ably supported by the retail business, which delivered positive EBIT for the quarter. The resilience demonstrated stems from our strong brand salience, innovative product portfolio, and wide distribution network. Before I share the financials, I would like to state that the calculations made for computing year-on-year growth in revenue, EBITDA and EBIT for the quarter and half year are based on management reported numbers post adjusting the water heater business share, which was transferred under slump sale to Hintastia Private Limited, now a 50-50 joint venture with Gupe Atlantic. Starting with the quarterly performance, our consolidated revenue from operations stood at rupees 617 crore, registering a robust growth of 56% year-on-year and 80% sequentially. EBITDA for the quarter stood at 58 crore, having grown by 41% year-on-year and 2.4x on a sequential basis. Despite absolute growth in EBITDA, margins were slightly lower on account of the elevated input prices. In order to mitigate the impact, we implemented price hikes across product categories during the quarter, the full impact of which will be visible in subsequent quarters. I will let the respective business heads share further details on the same. Profit after tax for the quarter came in at rupees 25 crore, registering a growth of 28% year-on-year. The sequential comparison may not be a fair representation given that the Q1 included the exceptional item comprising recognition of gains of 66.11 crore from our investment in Hintastia Private Limited on account of loss of control of subsidiary and gain of 34.75 crore on account of slump sale of water heater business undertaken by the company to Hintastia Private Limited. For H1 FY22, consolidated revenue from operation stood at 959 crore, growing by 68% year-on-year. EBITDA stood at 75 crore, growing 1.6x over H1 FY21. Profit after tax came in at 129 crore, a substantial growth over a loss of 5 crore in H1 of last year. Let me now take you through our segmental performance. Revenue for the consumer appliances business was 112 crore, up 35% year-on-year and 66% sequentially. EBIT for this business stood at 7 crore, growing by 7% year-on-year and on a sequential basis, it has grown from an EBIT loss of 5 crore. EBIT margin stood at 6.2% in Q2 FY22. Building products. Building product division revenue came in at rupees 484 crore, registering a growth of 66% year-on-year and 82% sequentially. Our innovative product portfolio, coupled with improving real estate demand, has aided this stellar growth in revenue. EBIT stood at 40 crore, growing by 48% year-on-year and 1.6x sequentially. EBIT margin for the building product business came in at 8.2%. The retail business. The retail business stood at 21 crore, growing by 6% year-on-year and 1.2x sequentially. EBIT came in at 2 crore as compared to EBIT loss of rupees 3 crore and loss of rupees 1 crore in Q2 FY21 and Q1 FY22 respectively. EBIT margin for the quarter was 9.8%. Profitability for the retail business has returned to being positive after the previous quarter's EBIT loss due to the COVID-induced lockdown. We remain that the business will maintain its profitability in the coming quarters. Q2 FY22 was yet another quarter wherein the company demonstrated strength and resilience by delivering strong growth and profitability. We will strive to maintain this performance and improve upon it going ahead. We continue to drive our business on the back of regular innovative product launches and our robust distribution infrastructure. I would now request Mr. Rakesh Koul to take you all through the consumer appliances and retail businesses. Over to you, Rakesh.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Naveen Malik, and a very good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to SHIL's Q2 and H1 FY22 earnings call. I sincerely hope that all of you and your loved ones had a pleasant Deepavali and you're keeping safe. I'm happy to report that SHIL grew its revenue at a healthy clip during the quarter, indicative of the strong demand for our products. We have seen a steady pickup in demand and sales with the easing of the various lockdowns across the states due to the subsiding of the second wave. The business, however, in line with the sector, faced challenges with regards to rising input prices. In order to protect our margins, we announced price hikes for some of our products. We actively implemented various strategic initiatives such as new product launches, expansion of our distribution network, and our marketing campaigns to make the most of the resurgence in the demand. We launched several new products in Q2 FY22 designed with innovation and aesthetics in mind. These products launches were supported by major marketing campaigns which were well received by the market and helped us to connect with the consumer during the festive season. Revenue and the EBIT for the consumer appliances delivered a healthy growth rate on YOY basis, adjusting for the share of the water heater business. As you may all recollect, this business was part of our then wholly owned subsidiary Intastica Private Limited, which after capital infusion from Groupe Atlantic France became a 50-50 JV with them. The said adjustment has been made to make the Q2 and the Q2 FY22 and Q2 FY financials 21 financials comparable. Comparing to the financial performance during Q2, revenue witnessed a healthy growth of 36% year-on-year and 66% sequentially. EBIT stood at 7 crores compared to 6.5 crores in last year Q2 FY21 and EBIT loss of rupees 5 crore in the previous quarter. EBIT margin stood at 6.2%, slightly lower than 7.8% in the same quarter last year, owing to high input costs. To counter this, we have taken frequent price hikes across categories during the quarter, and benefits of the same are expected to be realized in the coming quarters. We are monitoring the situation clearly with regard to commodity prices, ocean freight increase, and are prepared to undertake further price hikes if and when required. Coming to the retail business, with increasing demand for real estate and home innovations, this business has seen growth in its revenues as well as profitability. Revenues grew by 6% year-on-year and 1.2x sequentially. EBIT is being positive, back to being positive, after a minor blip during the first quarter of this financial year, largely owing to the lockdown-related issues. Barring Q1 FY22, the business has shown resilience with regard to maintaining and driving profitability. We are happy to see the business return to that trajectory this quarter and are confident that it will continue to strengthen there in the coming quarters. EBIT margin for the quarter stood at a 9.8%. In terms of PBT2, we are profit-making entity. We continue to focus on expanding our online presence and our franchisee stores through the pillars of brand and a strong product focus. Before I hand over the call to Sudhanshu, I'd like to share that SHIL was also recognized as a great place to work by the Great Places to Work Institute India It's an honor to be a part of this list and is a testimony to our efforts to ensure that the organization feels like a second home to all our employees, providing them with an environment that is conducive to their physical and mental health as well as their productivity. With increasing demand, we are confident of growth in our top line, and the bottom line will improve with input costs returning to normal. With this, I would like to hand over the call to Mr. Sudhanshu Pokhriyal.
Thanks, Rakesh. A very good afternoon to everyone on the call. Thanks for joining us today. The bath business has delivered a stellar growth in Q2 FY22, as can be seen in our financials. Shill is the fastest growing player in sanitary ware and faucets over the past quarter. I'm very happy to share that with you. The strong growth seen in both revenue and EBIT during the quarter stems from improved realization, innovative launches, and strong demand in the real estate sector. We've also seen much higher sales volume in Q2. We've launched a slew of products and designs during the quarter. Many of these address the need of the current time and are based on the idea of contactless usage. We continue to complement these launches with strong marketing campaign around them, which are making waves across platforms. I'm sure you would have seen.
Mr. Pokhriyal, sorry to interrupt. This is the operator. May we request you to just move the device a little closer to you because the audio sounds a bit muffled right now.
Yeah, sorry. I'll just repeat what I said. So we've launched a slew of products and designs during the quarter. Many of these address the need of the current times and are based on ideas of contactless usage. We continue to complement these launches with strong marketing campaigns around them, which are making waves across the platform. I'm sure you have seen our advertisements around touch-free, etc. Coming to the performance during the quarter, revenue from operations delivered a robust growth of 66% year-on-year and 82% on a sequential basis. EBIT2 displayed a very healthy growth of 48% year-on-year and 1.6x sequentially. EBIT margin for the quarter stood at 8.2% as compared to 5.7% in the previous quarter, which is higher by about 250 basis points. However, when compared to year-on-year basis, margins have compressed by 100 basis points, largely owing to rising commodity prices. However, we have undertaken price hikes in both sanitary ware and faucets in the last week of August, and the benefits of the same are expected to be realized in the coming quarters as well. To conclude, Q2 FY22 has been a tremendous quarter for the bath business, a period wherein we've seen good improvement in realizations as well as volumes. The business is regaining its past momentum, as is evident in the growth of revenue and profitability over the last few quarters, and we are very confident of maintaining the same. Let me now invite Mr. Paju to take you through the plastic pipes and fittings business. On this note, where we have been the fastest growing business in the sanitary and faucet business in the last quarter. Rajesh, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Sudhanshu, and good afternoon to everyone here. Thank you all for joining us on this call. The plastic pipes and fittings business continues to perform well, maintain its revenue momentum, having grown 74% year-on-year and 82% on a sequential basis to report a revenue of 158 crores for the quarter. Demand for our products continues to remain strong. In addition to the revenue momentum, the pipe business contributes positively to the bottom line. The strong growth in the quarter came on the back of the launch of new SKUs and expansion of our distribution channel. The increasing real estate demand is helping widen the market size and has given a major boost to our sales in this quarter. The increased demand led to robust sales volume growth. The strong wave of real estate demand has also been a key contributor to the growth of this business. We are also seeing healthy traction in our institutional and project businesses on the back of registrations and various authorities. We have been working towards maintaining a strong connect with the influencer community and have made steady progress during the quarter by reinitiating the Plumber Connect program through physical meets. In this quarter alone, we connected with over 20,000 plumbers, and we will continue to engage them in the coming quarters. We also continue to organize training programs for our various channel partners, influencers, a strategy that has delivered results in the past, and are hopeful that it will continue to do so. Before I end my remarks, I would like to reiterate that the plastic pipes and fittings business continues to clock a healthy run rate. We are confident that the improving real estate sector demand will create instrumental in helping us maximize sales in the coming quarters as well. We believe that the robust housing demand and the high input costs for PVC will provide a boost in demand for CPVC segments as well. Thank you very much. And I would like to conclude these opening remarks and open the floor for questions and answers, if any. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who has a question may press star and 1. We'll take our first question from the line of Chetan Gindoria from Alpha Access. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Congratulations on a great set of numbers, especially on the top line. Firstly, wanted to understand what would be our EBIT margin or EBITDA margin in the pipes business, and what is the trajectory over the last few quarters?
So basically, if you see on the pipes division, we did a sale of 158 crores during quarter. EBIT margins we disclosing today as an overall basis for the building products business. So separately, we are not disclosing. But if you see broadly, the margins are in range of around the EBIT margins are in range of 7 to 9%. 6.5 to 9%.
6.5, 9% is for the overall building material segment or for just for pipes?
Broadly for pipes.
Okay. And where do you see this margin going over the next 2 years, given that now our scale is also increasing to 150 crores plus revenue run rate?
So we still have a lot of operating leverage to use on because this is a separate business internally, and there are separate vertical wherein we have separate sales team, separate supply chain costs. So as the sales volume keep enhancing, the margin expansion will keep happening. And just to give a background, this is just around 3-year-old business. So we started the commercial production and sales into the market in August 2018. So the success of the business is based on the last 3 years of performance, and we feel that this performance will continue to grow. And year on year, we have given already the number that on the pipes we have grown by around 74-75% when quarter 2 year on year basis.
Okay. And with respect to margin in the building material overall basis, so even though on the revenue front we have substantially crossed both Q3 and Q4 numbers, so but we are still quite low on the margin front. So how do you see overall building material EBIT margin when have we passed on the total RM inflation, and can we return to normalized margins from Q3?
So here you have to see from 2 points. First point is Briloka, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of SHIL, where the results gets consolidated for building products. This entire margins are without any manufacturing margins because manufacturing is not part of Briloka. Most of the analysts, what they do is they try to compare us with the other producers or the other competition, wherein they have the manufacturing margin also built into the business. So we are today buying material both from third parties as well as one of the group companies, as we historically told, on arm's length basis. And then we do rest of the branding business, after sales service, distribution. So all the entire gamut of activities we do in SHIL. Margins, as far as Briloka is concerned, on an overall basis, if you see, we have an EBIT margin of around 9.2%. But in quarter 4 we had 11.9, but that's one of the best quarters we have, where the highest turnover comes into the picture, and also a lot of fixed costs gets absorbed. But we feel that right now margins are slightly around 1% down due to the raw material inflationary trends, which we expect that in next 2 quarters or so, we should be able to iron out and regain back the margins. This is despite the fact that we had taken, 1 or 2 price hikes in the last 2 quarters, continuously, and along with we are seeing the market and how the market behaves, so accordingly we are taking the price hikes also.
Okay, so a normalized margin for FY say 23 onwards would be say around EBIT margin for building material would be a plus 9% is what we are targeting.
9% is quarter 2. This is what I told you.
Okay. And with respect to our consumer business, so our revenue print is below last year's number. So just wanted to understand. Sorry.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. So it is excluding water heater business. So if you can explain what is driving the growth in the consumer business, and if you can give the segment-wise revenue within consumer, as in kitchen tops, appliances separately, it would be helpful.
So generally, if you see kitchen appliances today contributes almost 45% to 48% of the sales of the consumer appliance businesses. And as far as the market growth is concerned, Rakesh, I would request if you can address to this question how the market looks like, and maybe we can give a response.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for the question. The growth in quarter 2 has been largely driven by our kitchen appliances segment. We continue to grow stronger in this category to be among the top 3 players in the market as of now, particularly in the category of kitchen hoods, which are chimneys, kitchen hobs, and as well as cooktops. So I think the growth has been primarily driven by our focus on technology and innovation. As you would be well aware that we were India's first IoT chimney we launched last year, Hindware in Optimus iPro, for which we did a massive campaign on TV and print recently. That has turned out to be one of our best sellers in the market because the consumer is feeling it much easier to use an IoT chimney. No one else in the competition has that. Although at the same time, our continuous focus on research and development to create innovations in this category has resulted in creating the largest range of silent chimneys in the country. So now we can easily boast of a range of chimneys which is the most silent. In fact, our chimney in the Optimus iPro is 32% more silent than the most silent chimney in the competition. This again goes from the fact that we do an intensive consumer research in terms of what are the needs of the consumer, and through this research we found out many of the consumers actually don't switch a chimney because it makes it too much of a noise. So hence, going back to our research and development, I think focus on innovations, focus on technology, and creating feature-rich products which can make the lives of the consumers easier has been the hallmark and the benchmark of consumer appliances. That's what will continue to give us growth. However, one part of our business is also air cooling business, which suffered a massive jolt in quarter 1 this year as well as last year, primarily because of COVID-induced lockdowns. And as you know, cooling products, predominantly 60% of the sellout happens in quarter 1. So having said that, we hope that COVID is largely behind us and we will register significant growth in the cooling category as well in the coming times. I hope I answered your question.
Yes. Thank you, Rakesh, and all the best to the entire team for the future performance.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in the conference, we request you to please limit your 2 per participant. Time permitting, you may come back in the queue for a follow-up question. Our next question is from the line of Pritesh Chheda from Lucky Investments. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. The question is on margin side. So let's say when you were commenting on quarter 4 versus what you saw this quarter, I think the key difference on a similar size of revenue is the gross margin impact number. So we were a kind of a double-digit margin in quarter 4 for a 600 crore revenue, and we had a single-digit margin in quarter 2 for a 600 crore plus revenue. So the question here is, first of all, is this assessment correct, and which part of the building product is where the gross margin pressure is there? What are the efforts that we are taking to offset these gross margins? Because some of the competing companies in building products in our similar product line did not have a pressure to such an extent? And where are we on the journey of improving sales, given leverage, driving the margin of our overall business? These are my broader questions.
Yeah, broadly, I think your assessment is correct, that on an apple-to-apple basis, on a turnover basis, the margins, has little bit shrunk as compared to the quarter four. But as I told you, like markets have been very volatile in over last 6 months in terms of the price hikes of the input raw material. And it is not possible for business to immediately, if let's say the brass, if you just try to analyze brass. So brass moved, from rupees a kilogram to almost 480 rupees a kilogram now. So every player who is into the brass, and brass for purpose of manufacturing faucets, it's a good input cost. The cost factor goes as high as 60%, 60-65% for certain products. So most of the companies, what they do is they wait and watch and how much is the absorption in the market. Price hikes can happen anytime, but the volumes growth as well as the absorption of the price hike into the market has to happen. So similar sort of trend is there. So this is where we are told that in coming few quarters, despite the price hikes which we have already done, we expect that in next 2 quarters or so, we'll be further looking at price hikes and so able to bring back the margins and retain the margins what we had initially.
On the longer horizon of improvement of margins to double digit, which we have been commenting all these quarters on improving scale, any thought process there, any changes there?
I think one good event which we did is, if you see, we were very high on the working capital, but if you see the numbers now, we have been on the building product side on an overall basis. We have been able to reduce the number of days by around 20-25 days. So we had given guidance to the market, that we are working on it, and some of the things have already started appearing and coming through.
I saw that. Will this working capital now sustain? Because there's a significant improvement at least that we see in this quarter.
Yes.
So it's a reduction to 90 days, which you had earlier mentioned, from 110 days. So this 90 days, you think it sustained?
Yeah, we are still working on it. We continuously taken number of initiatives to improve the return on capital employed on the overall business as such. And this is one of the key events which we are doing in terms of bringing back the good level of ROC number into the picture. So considering this, if you see on Q2 ROC basis, if we just on a consolidated results basis, Q2 if we analyze and get the ROCs, we are at 35% ROC today.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will come back if I have more questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of George John from Equity Intelligence. Please go ahead.
Hi, hope I'm audible. So my question is regarding our share of profit from the water heater business and how it is panning out on the new entity.
Rakesh, if you can take this.
Yeah, water heater, thank you so much for the question. Water heater business, we have registered a growth and double-digit growth over the comparable period when the water heater was a part of the earlier SHIL business. And even in profitability, while the input prices have increased tremendously, a steep hike in water heater business, we have registered certain price increases, which has led to more stability for our brand. And also the fact that in the recently concluded quarter, we became the number 2 brand, number 2 and number 3 brand, number 2 brand in Flipkart, and number 3 brand overall in e-commerce, which has helped us sustain our margins and sustain our revenues as well. Whereas largely, if you see water heater business as an industry has suffered a minor degrowth in the first 6 months actually. So from that perspective, I think we are on the right path. At the same time, in that company, we also introduced heating products recently. So that will also bolster the revenues in the coming quarters in the key season of winters.
Okay, thank you, sir. That is helpful. And have you had any market share gains in the consumer appliances segment?
Yes, I think if you would see that we have grown in the category of kitchen hoods. So while kitchen hoods is not covered by registered market agency, registered and well-known research agencies like GfK, but our internal market estimates say that we have moved from 17% to almost 18.5% in the category of kitchen hoods. And in kitchen hobs also we have broken into the top 5, registering a gain. In case of air coolers, so the market has degrown in quarter 2 and quarter 1, whereas we grown by 7%. And our e-commerce market share has moved to 16.7% by value as per GfK there. And in water heaters, our market share has moved to 12.3% on e-commerce and overall at 7.3%. So we have made marginal gains in market share in water heaters and air coolers, and substantial ones in kitchen chimneys and kitchen hobs.
Okay. Thank you, sir, and all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Sriram Rajaram from Ratnatraya Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. I have a couple of questions. One on the pipe business.
Sorry, Mr. Rajaram, we are not able to hear you clearly. If you're in a hands-free mode, please switch it to hands-free.
Yeah, sorry for this. So a couple of questions from my end. One on the pipe business, based on your half-year numbers, what is the volume growth? And my second question is on the consumer product business. So if I look at the first half numbers, like we have clocked about 180 crores. And if I look at the pre-COVID period, which is H1 FY20, we have done about 175 crores. Now, if I were to normalize these two figures, I just want to understand what is the growth on H1 to H1.
Of pipes?
Yeah.
Your question to pipes or your question?
My question is first on pipes. That is, so what is the volume growth for the first half?
Volume growth till now we don't give separately for SKU wise because it varies from SKU to SKU, and the product mix. Like on building materials, some of the time, some quarters we sell bigger pieces, some we sell smaller pieces. But if you see H1 to H1 of last year, our overall growth is 85%.
That is the overall growth.
Yeah. On the pipe. This is the pipe.
Yeah. Okay. And on the consumer product space, sir, if I were to compare H1 of FY22 versus H1 of FY20, like normalized for the water heater and all those things?
Yeah, comparable basis for, sorry, sir. Yeah, Mr. Sukha, you can go ahead.
Yeah, if you net off the water heaters, it is 44%.
44% growth on H1 FY20, am I right? I'm not talking about H1 FY21. I just want to get an understanding of H1 FY20 versus 22.
So it is 44%, and this is apple to apple without water heaters in both the columns.
No, I think Mr. Sandeep Sukha, he wants to know the pre-COVID period, so which means 1920, financial year 1920. Am I right? H1 of 1920?
Right now, not in front of me to be very fair. I have to get back to you, please.
Okay, I'll connect with you offline on that. And sir, my last question, like if you can give the breakup for the consumer products business, for the current set, that will be useful, product wise.
Breakup means what?
Revenue breakup. Yeah.
Segmental wise.
On the overall consumer product portfolio which we have, still consolidated, like I told you, like 48%, 45-48% is water heater on this kitchen appliance. And balance, generally 15 to 20% is water heaters, then 15 to 20% is air cooler, and rest are the other products.
So this 15 to 20% has gone out, right? So that's no longer there now.
Yeah, then you have to adjust accordingly, because last year it was there as a part of the business operation and this year it is not. So I'm just trying to.
Okay, that's helpful, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from the line of Prakash Iyer from Haldiram's Family Office. Please go ahead.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening. I wanted to understand from the management that what is the percentage of group company buying. I'm just looking at it from a corporate governance standpoint. Arm's length is very well understandable. but to get comfort on the governance aspect is what I was wanting to know, Mr. Sikka, on all the businesses, piping as well as kitchen appliances and so on and so forth.
So I'll start from the top, like on kitchen appliances and the entire business of Somany Home Innovation Limited standalone. Today, now we don't procure anything from other group company. All is from the third parties. For Birloka, sanitary ware faucets, on an average, we buy around 65% from our group company HSIL. And on pipes, almost 98% is sourced from HSIL.
I see.
And this is based on a Big Four, transfer pricing, which is benchmarked on a report of one of the Big Four, which is taken up by audit committee.
And this is done quarterly. The transfer pricing.
Benchmarking is on an annual basis, not on a quarterly basis.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Sonal Minhas from Prescient Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. This is Sonal. I have just a bookkeeping question. Just want to understand your effective tax rate for the period, and just want to understand, like, for FY 22-23, what we should factor in as an effective tax rate, because the number varies quite a lot.
So I think if you see on a consolidated, I understand where your question is coming from. If you see our consolidated results, the effective tax rate may look higher because Birloka during the quarter paid a dividend to its parent. And since parent has not paid out the dividend as of now in this quarter, so as per the tax laws, we have provided the tax on it. But when you consolidate the figure, you have to net off, since it's a transaction between parent and a subsidiary. So dividend is not coming as a consolidated, but the incidental tax is coming. So that's why it is looking higher. Birloka is under a regime of 22% plus surcharge, and Shill is under a regime of 30% plus surcharge, because Shill, we made some investments initially in the Shill, and till that recovery happens, maybe for another year or so. So on a weighted average basis, you can assume almost 30%, maybe 28% around the average tax rate.
Should be the tax rate for the period for
next 2 years maybe.
Next 2 years. And the JV that we have done, that the profits for them also are getting accrued below the PBT number, right? Or that's not getting accrued yet?
50/50 JV, and we have taken an equity method for it. So the net profits from the JV, they are reported below the PATs.
Got it, sir. Okay. Thanks a lot. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to our participants, if you wish to ask a question, you may press star and 1. Our next question is from the line of Puneet Khanna from BOB Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good evening. So I just wanted to understand about building products line. What is the breakup of sanitary and faucets? First question. Second question, what is the mix of retail and institutional sales? And third question is, what is the plan for the next year? And what is the market shares we are aiming for the building product business?
Okay. So first question, sanitary ware faucets, you want separate? Just one figure I have to just see. You have it right now?
I can share. You want me to share?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, this is Sudhanshu. So on the 6 monthly basis, we have about 32-33% is our faucet sale, and the balance is what is categorized in sanitary ware. And similarly, on the 6 monthly basis for the financial year, our retail sale is about 74% and 26% is our project sales. We typically don't give a specific number here, but we believe that we want to gain market share, and we target 1.5 to 1.5 to 2 times the market growth rate, our overall growth rate. And like we said, we've been growing in the past quarters, and we are the fastest growing company in sanitary ware and faucets. we believe that we will continue that trend and continue to grow at 1.5 to 2 times the market growth rate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Pritesh Chheda from Lucky Investments. Please go ahead.
Sir, just on the pure sanitary ware and faucetware side of the business. So, when we try to compare a couple of years back numbers, or maybe, we were in a streak of low growth or losing market share. Now, between half yearly this year and let's say half yearly a couple of years back, the product would have the business which would have added and improved would be the pipes business. So adjusting for pipe business, what is the growth rate that we have seen in sanitary ware, pure sanitary ware, faucetware, and where are we on that market share table now?
So I think we disclosed that number, if you go the segment results, the sanitary ware faucet together has grown by around 65-66% based on quarter 2 YOY. And the pipes have grown by around almost 74-75% quarter 2 YOY. Sudhanshu has already spoken about it. And in fact, we have been giving guidance for almost now 6 months that we expect that we'll beat the market growth by almost 1.25 to 1.5 times. And this guidance was given earlier this year and even in the month of May this year. And I think we are proving what we had said historically with these numbers. And today, Sudhanshu has already spoken about it. You can compare us with the other peers in the market who work on sanitary ware faucets and the similar industries, like Cera or something. And today, we are the fastest growing company in this sector, in this industry today.
So for us, what is the half yearly growth?
Half yearly.
66%, you just mentioned.
The quarter was. That was.
Okay, half yearly, just a second.
Half yearly, sir.
So half yearly overall growth, if you see, is 76%, which we have done. And sanitary ware faucets, if you take on this thing, is around 69%.
And we are improving market shares, or?
So numbers shows it. I think we are very aggressive in the market now.
Okay. And on the pricing side, sir, how much price increases you have to take to come back to a double-digit margin if one would have assumed at the 600 crore revenue number? So what kind of pricing actions you have to take on this portfolio?
Your question is good, but it's not that easy to answer, to be very frank. So I'll just take you back that in last 2 quarters on sanitary ware, we had taken 2 price hikes, and on faucet we have taken 1 price hike. Maybe another 1 or 2 price hikes. That's what we said, we'll be able to retain the margin. But again, we have to see how the input prices keep moving. So input prices can go up or can come down over a period of time. But the price hikes, despite the price hikes, if the raw material keeps moving, we'll have to further evaluate and further do the price hikes in the market. So the broad guidance is that maybe next 1 or 2 quarters, we should be able to iron out the differential in the margin, which is due to the input material price hikes.
So my guess is the input inflation is only on faucet. It's not on sanitary ware, right? So I'm just on it.
We use while manufacturing sanitary ware, you have to bake it in the kiln, which is a major cost. Fuel is a major cost. The gas prices they have gone very high. It's almost doubled actually in last few months.
Yeah. Additionally, there is a use of PP, polypropylene, which is basically also there has been a huge price increase in all the raw materials, which is used for largely for seat covers as well as for your cisterns. And that also constitutes nearly 15-20% of the total cost. So there is a substantial price hike over the last 12 months on that raw material as well. So gas as well as PP.
And brass.
And brass. These are the 3 key ones. And about 14-15% of our total sanitary ware is imported from China. And we all understand what's happening in terms of the overall increase in ocean freight, which is actually gone up by more than 5 times. So there is a overall price increase, in the raw material as well as in freight, which is impacting even in sanitary ware category, not just faucets.
So I think the biggest deviation then is the imported part between us and the other competitor listed, and the faucet side of the inflation, because what we understand is power cost may not swing so much as a percentage of sales in terms of increase. So what are we doing then on the faucet side where the inflation is there, and on the pricing of it, because competition seems to be suggesting that they have taken the price hike. And on the imported sanitary ware side, are we now developing any alternatives to it, or any other option do we have?
Yeah, so like Mr. Sikka said, we've taken 1 price hike in faucets in this year and 2 in sanitary ware. We intend to take 1 more price hike in sanitary ware in the month of, by the end of November. And we are continuously evaluating, if we need to have another price hike in faucets. We have strategically moved to reducing our dependence on China for imports, which used to be nearly 20-21% of our total sanitary ware requirement, to now less than 15%. So we've reduced our dependence on China. So that's one aspect we've done. And that we've done by developing local vendors. So like very rightly asked by you, we have increased our production within our facilities through HSIL and also through domestic vendors. So both these actions have been taken along with the increase in prices. I'm also happy to share with you that we have undertaken a lot of cost reduction initiatives, which we believe will also start giving us benefits as we go forward. These initiatives are, in product re-engineering, they are also in process re-engineering, and overall value chain improvement. So we believe that in the next 1 to 2 quarters, we would be able to mitigate more the input price hikes which have come into our P&L right now.
Okay. So lastly, can you quantify the price hike? What has been taken so far in last 6 months in faucet ware and sanitary ware?
I think 2 price hikes ranging between 8 to 10% each.
2 times, 8 to 10%.
Yeah, on sanitary ware.
And faucet?
Broadly in the similar range, 1 price hike.
Faucet was about 10%, and sanitary ware was first 5 to 8%, and the second was 8%. So
16% in case of sanitary ware and 20% in case of faucet ware.
10% in case of faucets. 16%.
You said 10% 2 times, no?
Faucet is only 1 time.
Faucet is 1 time. Sanitary ware.
Okay. Understood, sir. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Sriram Rajaram from Ratnatraya Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. So my question is basically on the arrangement with HSIL. Now that I understand that there are 2 parts to it. So basically one is that we purchase products from them, and we also receive some kind of income in the form of management fees. Now I just want to understand what are the basis for these, and if you can disclose what are the ballpark margins retained by the HSIL, and how do we arrive at the management fees and so on, it will be helpful.
So basically, if you see the big quantum of related party transaction is sourcing from HSIL, and you can see the results of HSIL on the building product segment, and you would know how much they are selling, because entirely their entire sale is to Briloka. On a broader side, the EBIT margin range between around 4%, So this is the EBIT level margin, which is charged by them in terms of as an OEM production. HSIL doesn't impart any management services. Post demerger in the entire group, there were some common services like finance, accounting, IT, legal. So all these things get allocated broadly in terms of ratio of sales to the other group companies. so that we bring efficiency into the system. And there also the markups and other thing is all approved by Big Four as a part of the related party transactions.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll take a next question from the line of Gaurav from Sarat Capital. Please go ahead.
Sir, just one question, taking cue from what you said earlier in the call, where you said that it'd be unfair to compare our margins to companies that are manufacturing by themselves. So, in the past couple of quarters calls, we've mentioned that we, in the next 3 to 4 years, we intend to get to a 14 to 16% EBITDA margin. So, how do we get there without manufacturing and outsourcing a lot of our, manufacturing? Because those EBITDA margins are quite comparable to what these other companies are doing while manufacturing.
So, if you see, as I told you, there are some newer businesses inside the overall SHIL consolidated, like consumer business, pipes business. They are fairly new businesses. There is an element, wherein the volumes for each of these businesses are increasing. And when we are asking third-party vendors to manufacture it for us, we feel that there will be some volume discounts which will get built on. I'm just normalizing the input cost here. Apart from it, if you can see, we still have higher employee cost as a percentage to sales because these newer businesses, these are separate verticals internally. So there is some sort of an operating cost or operating leverage which we'll use as the volume expansion happens. With that, we feel that margin expansion will come down. So these are the two key points, and some internal efficiency, some working on design to value, some improvements in the product, some value addition to the products, like Rakesh talked about IoT products, wherein with some incremental expenses, so we are able to change the whole game and charge make an incremental gross margin. So it's not one initiative. There are a subset of many initiatives wherein we had given a guidance that over next 3 to 4 years, we should be able to expand our margins by around 3 to 5%.
We still maintain that despite not manufacturing, you can get there. Because my doubts came from the fact that if you look at, so in the pipe segment, everyone's doing 17, like the top companies are doing at 17%, 18%. In the consumer appliances, I mean, it's broadly 10, 11%. So that's what my doubt was.
Yeah, it's very easy. The margins which we leave in HSIL, which they charge from Briloka, they are very transparent to you. You can go to HSIL results and just pick up the building margins and add to us. So you would know, because if you see on a pre-demerger basis on sanitary faucets, and together we were in a range of around 18 to 20%. On a pipes business had not started during that time on a pre-demerger basis. So the margins which we are retaining there. So let's say tomorrow if we have a manufacturing with us, we feel that margins will be still more stronger. That is our directionality of our discussion was not that 3 to 4% incremental margin will come with the manufacturing, in-house. It is purely relating to economics. It's also relating to efficiencies which we'll bring in. So if manufacturing is acquired one day, that will be a top up.
So that's an option that you keep open, that you could manufacture as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Puneet Khanna from BOB Investments. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Sorry, just to have another question is, what is the price of natural gas we are right now buying for sanitary, and what are the sales from tier 1 to tier 3 cities?
So we don't buy any natural gas as we don't have any manufacturing facilities. So we procure it from third parties who buy the natural gas, but definitely it's a passed on. But the broad numbers which we have is that natural gas prices on an average in the last 2 quarters has moved from 25 rupees to almost 50 rupees. That's almost doubling of the price. Depend on state to state and on the sort of agreements each of these vendors have with the agencies. What was the second question?
Tier 1, Tier 3.
Tier 1, Tier 3, if you see sanitary faucets, if just go to the top few cities, Metro constitutes almost 30% of our sales, and then non-metros, first, Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Mumbai, Pune. So they constitute around 30%, and rest of the country constitutes around 70%.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Deepak Poddar from Sapphire Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity. So I just wanted to check that, like in the previous call as well, you have been talking about maybe 20% kind of a revenue CAGR over next 3 years, whereas the kind of growth that we are witnessing right now is in another trajectory. So, so is there any kind of revision that we want to do on the CAGR that we were looking for over next 2 to 3 years?
So I think the guidance which we gave around 6 to 9 months back was based on that market condition. But post that, many input raw material prices have moved. So they may drop, over a period of time also. But, our growth, our numbers today stand in the same, value, like what we have spoken about, the expected growth on consumer or the pipes on the building product, on the other rest of the building products.
Okay. So we are kind of looking at same range, 20-25% is what you are saying?
Yeah, but I think there is an element of more bullishness here. So we have a chance of doing more also.
Yeah, because
based on our current market condition,
Yeah, because even the price hike is closer to maybe 10 to 15%, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, yeah, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Shreyans Jay from Quest Investment Advisors. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Just one question. What would be our component of gas in manufacturing of building products like sanitary and faucetware?
So as I told, in Burloka, we don't have any manufacturing.
Right, but just broadly, if gas, I would just wanted to understand the component of gas.
Basically, if you see, while manufacturing sanitary ware, the clean is used, not much used in faucets. So average production cost to the the overall gas cost is somewhere around 22 to 25% of the production cost. Of the production cost.
All right. Thanks. And just last bit on the sanitary and faucetware business. So what I'm trying to understand is FY21 was lower base, and on that base, growth looks really high. So do you think we will be able to cater to the demand that is there, and are we really confident of 25-30% kind of growth rate?
So based on the current market condition, I think today, like last quarter, we have 66% growth. Definitely, there is some element of last year COVID impact. But based on the current market condition, we are very confident, the numbers we are talking of, at least we can do for the next 2 quarters.
All right. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Thank you. We'll take our next question from the line of Arjun Goyal, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, sir. I actually had a question, again, related to the current market conditions. So if you can give your comments on the current festival season that has just gone by for our different lines of our businesses, and how do we see closing out FY22? That's it. Thank you.
May I request Rakesh to take this question, please?
Yeah, thank you, Sandeep. Yeah, so the recently concluded festival sales was a little bit different in the sense that, we have seen lesser number of consumers having shopped in the recently concluded festival sales, but they have moved up the value chain. So which means that, higher ASP products are what sold more during the recently concluded festival. And we still see there is a little bit of, resistance towards the mass-based products, which shows the COVID impact on the lower and the middle class is slightly more. But having said that, it gives us an opportunity for a company like ours because we focus on technology and innovation. And since our majority of the products which we got sold during the recently concluded festival sales, a sizable portion of that remains smart products and connected appliances, which gives us a lot of scope and focus, a lot of scope and a lot of hope that the subsequent months would turn out to be better. and we might eventually increase our ASPs as well, not only because of price rise, but because of higher end the premium products selling more during this festive season.
And what about the building product segment and the retail? How has that been performing currently?
So retail for consumer appliances business or retail for business?
Yeah, I mean the retail sub-segment that we classify. I mean, how?
I think what we have done in the retail business for SHL standalone, we have moved because we had two big pillars. One was Brilliant products in the furniture business, and also the brand, which is Evoke by Hemware. So we realized the potential of the brand by getting into a very a very light asset light model where we didn't get into fixed costs, and subsequently reduced the count of our stores, if you remember well, from 15 to 2 last year, and these 2 stores, our own stores, and we have subsequently increased the franchisee stores to 29 by the end of Q2. And let me tell you that we have grown by more than 185% in our franchisee business over last year. And even if you take for like franchisee stores, we've grown by 50% in H1 despite the COVID-induced lockdown in the first quarter. So our model of our recalibration of the model in retail has helped us to a significant extent. At the same time, we have very strongly focused D2C approach in the retail business, which is Evoke.in, which has more than 800,000 visitors, unique visitors coming onto the website every month. And we believe that in future we will optimize our digital capabilities by going hyper local, and we are also working in such a way that many of the consumers who are logging on to Evoke.in, we are now getting them delivered through franchises across the country, thereby making the offline as well part of the inclusive growth as such. So I think from that perspective, the EBIT margins of retail has shown a significant improvement than what they were earlier.
So just a quick clarification here, when we say retail as a sub-segment, we include online and offline as well, right? Or is this only the physical franchisees that we have?
So while the physical franchisee and the physical stores are part of the Somany Home Renovation Limited, but we have a 100% subsidiary called HHRPL Limited, which is basically the D2C, which looks at the D2C business, which is Evoke.in.
Okay. And this comes under the retail subcategory.
Yeah.
Right?
So this comes under the retail subcategory. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. If you ask me now, retail and e-tail are merging. So while we are fixing this, our future focus will remain D2C. So while in Somany Home Renovation, HHL also for consumer appliances business, we are looking at D2C to being a big, not only to drive revenues, but to make the brand more aspirational and give the experience to our consumers about our products and offerings, and give a great brand experience through delivery to the customers, through brilliant deliveries to the customers. So I think there's a merging of e-tail and retail, so to say. But yes, you are right. The Evoke.in, the e-commerce business, the D2C part of the business of retail falls into a 100% subsidiary called HHRPL.
Okay. And sir, finally regarding the building products segment, I mean, in your competitors' call, they seem to suggest that the second half of the financial year they're going to end on a very strong note. So, are you seeing similar trends as well? Any thoughts, any comments?
Yeah. So, in the sanitary and faucet business, we are also seeing extremely good market response, and we believe our performance is going to be exceedingly good in H2 as well. So I reiterate, the demand which is there right now, which has been there from the real estate market, both for replacement as well as new demand. We have no doubt that the business is going to be robust in the H2 as well.
Okay. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand over the floor back to the management for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, just thank everybody for joining us on this call today. Markets have turned out to be very good for each of the segments in which we are operating. We are very confident that Q3, Q4, will give us further impetus for growth. And we have given medium to long-term guidance to the market based on the current market condition, we feel that, we are walking the right path of that trajectory of growth which we have mapped for us, and we can further improvise and improve on the numbers as we move forward. Thanks for joining again. And we are very happy to answer all your questions as we move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Dolat Capital, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.